Mike, back as an honorary captain. Originally from New Jersey, live there now. What brought you to the University of Iowa?
Um, Coach Ferentz and Coach Wyatt recruited me. At my high school, Tony Stewart, who was an all-time rushing leader here for a lot of years, he was a senior when I was a sophomore. So when he left high school, he came out here. And at the time, Coach Ferentz was probably one of the best offensive line coaches in the country, and the reputation that Iowa had for building offensive linemen. Not to mention the fact that Coach Fry and what he'd done, the success he'd had experienced here, were all big parts of me coming here. Also, I was a wrestler in high school. I was a state champion, and Dan Gable was my idol, so it didn't hurt that he was the wrestling coach here too.
Now, offensive lineman, so there's not a lot of stats we can go back and kind of post with your bio, but you did block for a lot of the 1,000-yard rushers in your career here. What was that like, opening holes for those guys?
It was always exciting, and I think as an offensive line, we took a lot of pride in, anytime we had our running back or our quarterback throwing for a lot of yards in a game, that was all the motivation we would need as an offensive line to come back and do it again the next week. We kind of took it as a challenge, I think, while we were here. And overall, my best friends are the guys I played with to this day.
Tell us about Coach Ferentz as your position coach.
Coach Ferentz was, I'll tell you a couple of quick stories about Coach Ferentz. My redshirt freshman year, we used to have these things called Hawk hitters, and it was a live scrimmage in the summertime. So coming from Union High School where I played football, we never passed the ball. So pass blocking was a whole new experience for me. I'm out there. I don't remember who I was going against on defense, but the guy was giving it to me pretty good on the passing plays. So finally, on one of the pass plays, I blocked the guy at the line of scrimmage. The quarterback completes a pass about 15 yards downfield or so, and once the quarterback completes the pass, I turn around and walk back to the huddle. So as I'm walking back to the huddle, I'm the first person there. Coach Ferentz comes running at me, throws his hat at me, starts to yell at me, saying, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" This and that. And I'm saying, "Wow," to myself, I'm like, "I thought I did a good job. My guy didn't kill a quarterback on that play." And he's like, "No, you have to cover. It's not enough just to block your guy. You got to cover." And one of those things for the rest of my career, and the guys in the room with me, my fellow offensive linemen would laugh, but I made it a point every time to cover downfield, so you'd always find me downfield after a pass play. Coach Ferentz as a coach and as a person, I think even more so was the exact thing that I needed in my life when I had come out here. And I got into some trouble my freshman year. Me and another player, Scott Davis, we stole some milk crates from a Hy-Vee food store. And so the sheriff found out Scott's license plate number. So he ends up calling my friend Scott. He says, "Hey Scott, you own Brown Nissan?" He's like, "Yeah." He goes, "Did you take some milk crates from the Hy-Vee?" He says, "Yeah." He goes, "I need you to come down to the sheriff's department." So Scott calls me up and he's like, "And bring the milk crates." So I load the milk crates back in my friend's truck, and he drives down to the sheriff's office, and they arrested him for stealing the milk crates. So he calls me up and tells me, "You got to call my mom and tell her to come bail me out." And I'm like, "All right, I'll call your mom." And I couldn't believe that they arrested him for it. And what ends up happening was Coach Ferentz found out that I was involved, that the milk crates were for me. So what he did is he made me and Scott run stadium stairs every day after practice until he left the field. And all the seniors, what they would do is they would linger around after practice to try to get us to keep running, basically, because they enjoyed watching us run. So we beat Michigan that year, and after the game, it was like the fourth game of the year. Coach Ferentz, everyone's feeling pretty good. So we're all there, and it's after practice, first practice back. So I said to Coach Ferentz, and I'll never forget this, and I use it with my kids today. I said, "Hey, Coach," he's like, "Yeah, what's up, Beef?" I said, Coach, how long do me and Scott have to run these stadium stairs for? So he says, until I forget why you're running. And you know what? When my kids do something wrong now, you know, I use the same kind of thing. If they say, Dad, how long do I have to do this for? Until I forget why you did it. But I can't say enough about Coach Ferentz, and you know, just how he depicts what it is to be a Hawkeye, and the whole family thing. And that's what I get when I come back here. And I haven't been back here in 13 years, but standing here with you, being in this place, being with these people, it feels like yesterday I was playing. And it's a unique thing to this place. And I know a lot of people that played in other colleges, and no one has an experience like I've had. And you know, I think that speaks a lot for this program, what Coach Fry was able to start, and also what Coach Ferentz has been able to do.
Real quick, Mike, you had some teams that overcame some adversity, and your message to this team that is ready to snap a 3-game losing streak tomorrow.
And what you want to know? What
yeah,
my message was?
Yeah, the message.
Well, like we had a couple losing seasons while I was here at Iowa, and my senior year was tough because, you know, we had a lot of hype before the year. We were ranked, and the season didn't go, you know, the way we had planned, and we found ourselves at 1-4. Our starting quarterback got hurt. We ended up finishing the year with a third-team quarterback who happened to be Paul Burmeister, and we ended up with a fullback playing tailback. And you know, my message is, it doesn't matter what adversity that you face it together as a team. You have to stay together as a team. And the reason why you play this game is for each other. And I think that's the thing that I wanted them to know. And like when things don't happen the way they're supposed to, teams will tend to press. I think as a player, you know, you start to doubt yourself, you start not to trust the other guys that you're playing with. And I think once you start to do that, you don't have a chance. But you know, if you're able to overcome the adversity, the only way you can do it is by trusting the guys you play with.
All right, thanks, Mike.